Hi friends of Boston Coalition for Autism. This is Mauricio Perea. Here we are in Framingham. This is the beautiful place. Let me turn the camera and see it. After these few inches of snow from last night, we're at the Sudbury River, but exactly this is the Caro Greccio Reservation path, and we're going to walk over there. And you can see, well, this bridge is the All Danforth Street Bridge. It's been kind of remodeled lately in the past few years, and this is one of the beautiful parts of, well, Framingham has many beautiful parts. This is one of my favorite ones, and you can see we're on the north side of Framingham. And let's get into the details. First of all, I want to say thank you to all who attend our conference on late diagnosis and autism. Really appreciate it. We have volunteers. We had board members who could make it, and the others who couldn't. That's because they are supporting us in the different ways, financially and with logistics and work. But also we have a state representative. We have the Karen Spilka assistant. And Karen Spilka is the president of the Senate in Massachusetts. And she's also from Framingham, but one of the things she's doing is she's a health-oriented legislator. So we follow her because she can help us in the near future. Also, we have people from the school system. Thank you to all of them. We had a couple of people from the general public interested in the topic, and a couple of them in the spectrum who require some information. And in general, it was a very good conference. We provide a lot of information on late diagnosis and how the people think, more what the behaviors are. So we're gonna publish that in our channel. Also, remember Boston Coalition for Autism on YouTube. Okay. Well, today the topic is something that made me think about it. It's called the golden rule of autism, and for us, it's one of the. It's hard to say what is a golden rule in autism, but people and some authors also describe this as a golden rule. Behavior does not need to be changed if the behavior doesn't cause harm to the person or to others. Also, it does not endanger their integrity, the person or others. Also, helps to self-regulate, improves your emotional and sensory well-being, and it's a natural part of their way of being and processing the world. Changing behavior just because they are different responds to neurotypical social forms, no real needs of the autistic person. That's something that we don't promote. We are on the opposite side. People need to regulate, and they have all the rights like you do it. We also have different neurotypicals. We have different ways to regulate too, but we don't consider them like a behavior because we don't even notice it sometimes. So I challenge you to understand your ways of behavior sometimes. Okay, you see all this deck was recently renewed for this winter, and we made it on time. Okay, so we don't seek to eliminate these behaviors. Esteeming, which is repetitive motions, sometimes it sounds or sometimes rocking, like this. That's the esteeming. That regulates the nervous system. Also reduces anxiety and sensory overload. And it helps you focus, to stay present. Some people we also do it, neurotypicals do it. I notice myself, I have noticed in different other neurotypical people, when they do something like tapping or moving the legs or the knees, they need that to regulate and pay attention to what we're saying. So sometimes other things that we need to regulate is avoid eye contact. We had a full episode on eye contact on the other channel. It's Neurodiversidad de Autismo, que no es lo mismo. It talks about that. So, but for many autistic people, eye contact is invasive. Sometimes it's painful and interferes with language comprehension. So they cannot do the both things at the same time. Look at you and listen what you're saying. And that's why it increases the cognitive load. It's too much for that people. So listen and look. Demanding eye contact can reduce comprehension and increase anxiety. That's why we have to be aware of that. The other part is the routines. The routines provide a neurological safety for the person, an autistic person, and for some others too. People with anxiety, without being autistic, they need routines to reduce anxiety. Well, also in autistic people, that reduces uncertainty and stress. To know what's next is very important for people in autism. That facilitates autonomy because they know their routine, they know what to do, what to follow, and all that. The other thing that is intense interest, or we mentioned in our conference, hyperfocus or monotropic thinking. So they are source of motivation and pleasure. They facilitate the deep learning for some people, and they can be converted into professional skills. This is a very iffy and ethical ways. Not to abuse of that interest, promote sincere interest based on that. That's the ethical part. Because we never know that it can be manipulated, and that's not what we want for people in autism. They are not pathological obsessions. They are legitimate forms of connection with the world. So we have to respect that. Like this deck is new. They just built it. You can see the wood. All right, the socialize less. The amount of socialization also is not that rigid. It cannot be forced and doesn't imply lack of empathy. We need to know that. It can be an energy necessity and protects about social exhaustion. So the quality of the bond matters more than the quantity. Okay, here is where the all part is. All that area goes that way, so we can follow. And if you go all the way up, you're gonna get to the school where I used to work a long time ago. So there's a public path. But today we're gonna stop here because we don't know what's over there. But we continue with our video. Direct and literal communication also reduces misunderstanding, is clear, honest, and efficient. It does not imply a lack of emotions. The problem is not literature, but a society that privileges simplicity and ambiguous. So not everybody understands what you understand. We assume sometimes that people is going to understand just by few basic directions or common directions. In autistic world is not that. So sometimes we have to be literal, or we use sarcasm or jokes. That is not okay for autistic people. And the other one of the main parts is the sensory sensitivity. If you hear my steps, for some people on the spectrum, that will be too much, way too much. And that's why they don't enjoy a walk like I'm doing right now. So the sensory parts are neurological differences. There's no way that we can change. When we talk about neurological, that's part of the brain, how it is wired. They are not manias or exaggerations. They produce pain. Sometimes for us, we don't know. And that also voice concentration and emotional regulation affects that directly. So adapting the environment is more ethical than demanding tolerance. We go the other way. This is one of our principles in Boston Coalition for Autism. We don't want to adapt the person to the environment. We're going to try to adapt the environment to the person. Because neurotypicals, we do it. We don't like something, we just walk away. Things like that. Echolalia is another thing. And you know, we have a video also about the functional echolalia, what echolalia is. You can look at it, and neurodiversidad de autismo, que no es lo mismo. But echolalia is valid form of communication. It can express emotions, needs, language processing, often precede spontaneous language. So echolalia is functional. It's not a mistake. And this is a stage of communicative, style communication. Some people organize themselves through saying things, especially people with ADHD. Well, autism uses that thing, words to organize themselves, and we see it as echolalia. But the change is only ethical if we conduct the causes of autism when they're really harming the people. We can change that only when severely limits autonomy. So autonomy is not developing. Also, that generates suffering to the person when we try to change them. And the autistic person wants to change it, that's valid, but it has to be their desire. And even so, the objective is not to normalize, but to improve the quality of life. That's our goal. That's the way we see it. In summary, not everything is different, or whether it's different, it doesn't need to be corrected. Many autistic behaviors are not symptoms. They are strategies of survival, regulation, also an expression. So this framework not only protects the dignity of autistic people, also educates families, teachers, professionals to intervene with respect, evidence, and humanity. So please, now I hope you can understand why we call it the golden rule, and then follow these steps. But thank you for being on our channel, Boston Coalition for Autism, YouTube, and you can go to Boston Coalition for Autism.org or webpage where you can see the information about our organization. Thank you. Enjoy the snow day. And this is today is a holiday. Martin Luther King. Well, actually, it's Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today we're celebrating his legacy. All right. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.